Hi there, Chris here, Chap and the Cap, Motolegends. Today I want to talk to you about luggage for motorcycles. Now, if you've got some kind of touring bike, a sports tourer maybe, or an adventure bike, then luggage is not going to be an issue. You may well have bought the bike with those big cans on or luggage of some sort, and certainly there's going to be loads of aftermarket options. But if you ride something a bit more retro, something a bit cooler, then the options are far more limited. Now, the kind of bikes I'm talking about are things like the BMW R100rs, all those Bonneville-based Triumphs, smaller Harleys like the Harley Sportster, Guzzi V7, Guzzi V9, Kawasaki Z900rs, loads of the Indian bikes, Enfield bikes and so on. And it's a shame because those bikes are not just around town runabouts, they are perfectly up to the job of, say, a 2-week tour of Europe where you're going to need to carry gear with you. The problem is that on those kinds of bikes, hard luggage just looks wrong. It's just not cool enough. You don't buy a super cool bike and then put a big plastic top box on the back or plastic panniers on the sides. You've got the option, of course, of strapping on soft luggage, but I have to say that I'm personally not a fan of that kind of luggage. I had a friend many years ago in France. He was barreling down an end road. One of the straps came loose, got caught in the back wheel. It locked up. He ended up in a hospital, almost died. I just don't think that's the best solution in the modern era. The best solution that I have come across is from a German company called SW-Motech, and they do a range, it's called the Legends range. You get a series of cool canvas bags that you then attach to the bike on a fixed frame. Now, the bags come in two sizes. They're not huge, but that's the smaller size. This is the bigger size. Depending on the bike, you can have it on one side, so you buy a frame for the right or left. You can put it on one side or t'other side. And that depends on your bike, because if you've got a high exhaust on one side, there may not be an option to put luggage, but it may be that if you've got an exhaust at a certain height, you can't put the long one, but you can put the short one. So it kind of depends on your bike, but you will normally find that there's an option to have at least one of these, sometimes both, and if you're lucky, you could get the long one on both sides. Still not going to give you a huge amount of luggage, but certainly enough if you pack carefully. I think there's enough room in those bags to get by. Now, as I've said, what they do, they attach with frames, and there's one on the left and there's one on the right. And what this gives you, the reason that I really like this system is that it gives you the security of hard luggage in that it's absolutely fixed in place. It will not move, but it gives you the more appropriate look of soft luggage, which I think is just better on those kinds of bikes. So I'm just looking here at the SW-Motech website to tell you what kind of bikes they're available for. But there are, these days, when we first started off selling this range, there weren't that many bikes, but now there are literally hundreds of bikes. Not all of them are retro, but most of the retro bikes are covered, but there are other bikes that will also take this kind of luggage. So there's bikes from BMW, Ducati, Harley-Davidson, Honda, Indian, Kawasaki, KTM, MASH motorcycles, loads of Moto Guzzis, Enfield, Suzuki's, Triumphs, Yamahas. So there's now a pretty substantial range of bikes that these will fit to. But rather than just talk about the system, I thought it might be instructive if I went over and showed you how they fit onto a bike. So we've got one of our bikes, one of our designer's bikes here, his Kawasaki Z900rs. We're going to go over and actually fit a carrier to his bike. Wow, Graham, that is a spanking looking motorcycle. But I do not want you to worry, you are in safe hands, you're in the hands of a professional. Now, I've got every bit of kit that I think I'm going to need to get this job properly executed. I've got here a toolkit, everything we could possibly need. I've got torque wrenches, spanners, pliers, every hex you could possibly need. Here, I've got my power drill. I'm sure that's going to come in handy at some point. Here, oh, sorry, I meant to turn that off. Here, I've got a cutter. And Graham, you should not worry because I'm a professional. I've been doing this for years. My dad taught me well. And the thing he always said was, Chris, make sure you measure once and cut twice. So, Graham, let's get on with it. This is your bike. Can you tell me, where do we put the first cut? So here we are at the sharp end, just about to get down to business. Now, when you buy into the SW-Motech system, as I've said, you can buy a right-hand bracket or a left-hand bracket. This is what the bracket looks like. This is a left-hand side bracket, obviously for a Kawasaki Z900rs. Everything that you need to fit it comes supplied. So the first thing that you have to do is put these little fixings in here. Those are the fixings to which the bag attaches firmly so that it can't move. So that's always the first job. Any other nuts and bolts are also supplied. The only time where we found that it doesn't work is if you've fitted yourself or your dealer has fitted something like an optional sissy bar. Occasionally that means that you might need a longer retaining belt, but that's pretty rare. And if that's the case, then it's very simple. You can find an appropriate bolt from your local ironmonger. Now Graham reckons that I can fit all of this. I have to say it seems unlikely. He reckons I can fit it all with a single Allen key. Now he's a young chap, he's impressionable, but it's his bike, so I'm going to indulge him. But I have to tell you that no one should panic. I've got all the resources here. I've got my power drill, my cutting saw, my toolkit. If anything goes wrong, I can rescue the job, I can put it right. We will get this job completed if, as I suspect, this is not man enough for the job. But anyway, Graham, this is your bike. Tell me, what are the steps? How do I fit this bar?
So to start with, you need to take the pillion foot hanger off.
Okay, that's this. Graham, sorry, there's one thing I haven't done always before I start a job, and I learnt this from Ed China. We need to do a final bit of measuring just to make sure that everything lines up in the way it should. So that's an essential part of a complicated job like this. That's 3 7/8, just over 7.5. Yeah, 25 inches. Graham, yeah, I think that's fine. I think it's all going to work well, actually. Anyway, so you reckon that the first job is to take off this hanger?
Yeah, that's right.
Right, okay. So let's do this. I feel like pointing out that I think this would have been much easier with my power drill, but anyway, let's indulge Graham. Let's just use the Allen key and see if that's enough to do the entire job. So Graham, I've got that off. What's next?
So in the bag, you would have been supplied with 2 longer bolts which replace those you've just taken out.
Yep, 2 bolts with washers on, and I've got those here. And then what am I doing?
So then the bracket sits behind that assembly.
That's this bracket here, like that, like so, I would imagine. Okay, yep.
And then you screw them back in.
Okay, well Graham, this is quite a weight, there's a bit of a pendulum going on here. Would you mind holding the bracket up and holding it more or less in place? I'm going to do one screw first, I always find that easier. Okay.
That'd be the wrong hole, Chris.
Really?
Yeah.
I do find that sometimes that happens, if only occasionally by accident. Right, that's that one in there. Let's introduce this one here. Right. As we've got plenty of time, I thought we'd use the Allen key again, just to indulge Graham. Right. Now, obviously, when it comes for real, when you're doing this, makes sense to use a bit of Loctite. I would use a medium Loctite. So what's that, Graham? Is that a blue one?
That's the blue, yeah.
The blue one, that just means that if you've got a bike that vibrates, that's not going to work its way loose. I've left those a little bit loose at present because obviously there's another bolt to come. So this other one, Graham?
Yeah, so there's a longer bolt with a spacer.
That one?
Yep.
And this presumably goes in under here somewhere.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep, I can see where that goes. That's going in nicely. Okay. We can tighten that up a little bit more firmly later, but that's basically it. That already feels nice and secure and safe. So it's as simple as that. Graham was right, all you need is an Allen key. Graham, you've got a bag, can we just see how the bag fits on there? If you could just talk us through that.
So you've got 3 points on the back that match up with the points on the actual bracket itself, and they just locate over those and you just push down and it locks in.
So there we have it. Graham, is this the large bag or the small bag?
That is the larger bag.
Large bag. You've got a tart exhaust on this on the other side. Can you get a bag on that side as well?
Yeah, you can do that as well, that works. Yeah.
And a long bag or a short bag?
You can do the longer one as well.
Okay, so that's it. That's how to fit a SW-Motech Legends bag system. Obviously, if you're not a professional in the way that I am, you're going to find it a little bit more tricky. I've obviously made that look particularly easy, but take your time, follow the instructions, and I'm sure you'll get there. But what we now have is a set of luggage that is totally secure. This is as secure as a fully hard luggage system, but you've got the great looks of soft luggage, the security of hard luggage. We think it's great, and I think it looks perfect on a bike like this. I think it's just bang on. So I hope you found our review of how to fit an SW-Motech rack for the Legend system instructive, informative and interesting. If you would like to learn more about the system, then if you click on one of the links on the page, sometimes they're up there, sometimes they're down there, that will take you directly to the relevant page on our website. There you can see if we do a bag for your bike, you can check out all the details, the spec, availability, pricing and so on. Now when you buy from us, we try to make the process simple, straightforward and risk-free as we possibly can. There's no delivery charge on any item of protective wear that you buy from us. There is free returns on everything you buy. And what's more, we give you a full 12 months in which to decide whether you do want to return something to us. We have the best price promise in the business, the best price guarantee. John Lewis is rightly famed for its never knowingly undersold promise, but we go one stage better. If you can find anyone selling anything that we sell at a price that is below ours, we will beat their price by a full 10%. If that retailer is in the EU and not in the UK, we will match their landed price. Now there are a few terms and conditions, nothing particularly onerous, but if you are going to price beat us, I suggest you visit the website and check out what those terms and conditions are. If in the future you'd like to see bulletins from us about new products, then if you go to the website, at the top of every page there's a piece of script that says newsletter sign up. Click on there, within seconds you'll be in business. In future you'll receive our bulletins. If however you prefer to get your information from us videographically, that is to say in this form, we would be simply delighted if you want to become a subscriber to our YouTube channel, and you can do that by clicking on the button below. Now this is 2020, and before the end of the year we're going to be giving away a motorbike to one of our YouTube subscribers. We're calling the bike a Steve McQueen tribute bike. It's based on a Mutz 125cc machine. It's a lovely little cutie. You can read all about it on the front page of our website or on the home page of our YouTube channel. Finally, I'd like to make a play for our fabulous little shop here in Guildford. We are based about a mile from the centre of Guildford, a mile from the railway station, and as I suggest, the shop itself has a small footprint, but it's attached to our warehouse where we have 3 floors with over £2 million worth of merchandise. Technically that makes us the second largest motorcycle apparel shop in the UK. But we think that we are far more than just the amount of merchandise we have here in the building. We're all about service, we're all about personal fitting. If you want to check us out, visit Trustpilot. We have the highest 5-star ranking in the business. When you come and see us, we'll serve you only the finest Italian illy coffee, or we'll serve you proper Yorkshire tea in a proper teapot. And if you're lucky, you might even get to sample one of Sean's mum's delicious motorcycle-shaped shortbread biscuits. Anyway, this has been Chris. I hope to talk to you again soon.